Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Real Football Talk. As always, I have Adil with me. Adil, how you feeling?
Yeah, really good. Excited.
Yeah,
Finally there before the start of the season.
almost there, innit? Almost there.
Yeah.
Excited and nervous, I would say. Yeah.
Now I'm just excited.
London Derby, first game away as well. Again, same as last year. Just bringing back memories.
Oh, man. All right, yeah. You should be nervous if you're worried about Crystal Palace straight away.
You know me, isn't it? always worried about Arsenal. But let's get going. What we'll do, we'll start off with top four prediction, then we'll go through in terms of who we think will get, or potentially we think would get relegated, and we'll also touch up on the other interested parties like Newcastle, etc. So, Adil, top four, who's getting in there? Why?
Well, before we say title.
Okay, yeah, all right, cool. Well, if you want to do it that way, let's do it. Okay.
Yeah.
Who's gonna win the title?
Yeah, I'm going with Liverpool.
Ooh, okay. I'm going for City again, but let's see.
I just think they seem like they've got a bit more fight in them, a bit more determination. They got the bit between their teeth. And I just think Klopp's gone into their heads. I think that they're a bit more driven, and the hurt of losing the two big titles that they are going for, the Champions League and the Premier League. It just feels like they have a mental edge. And in a season when there's a World Cup and there's going to be a break, I think the fast start and the break is going to help, because everyone's going on like, oh, it's going to be so many games and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, there's only two squads that's going to go right till the end. And there's only going to be four squads that go into the last week of the World Cup.
Yeah.
So, I think whoever has a fast start will be able to sustain it, because they'll be able to do another, short pre-season, getting the players refreshed.
Other thing about like also Liverpool, like someone like Salah, he's not going to the World Cup, so he'll be fresh again. He'll get a good rest. So that's something like that is a massive booster. I know obviously you can say the same thing for Haaland, etc., but obviously he's still fitting in. Salah, who's an established star already, there, you just give them that extra edge, I think.
Well, obviously Salah's dip after he came back from African Nations Cup was, one of the defining reasons they didn't win the title. So even though Liverpool done well while they were away in the African Nations, when they came back, we dropped a few points. Obviously, they dropped some in December as well. And,
yeah.
But if being fatigued from the African Nations Cup and contract negotiations affected him, then this season, there is no African Nations and there's no World Cup and there's no contract negotiations. So, yeah, he should have a standout season.
But like for me, the thing is, I think it kind of like stands out is the fact that Man City got that different factor where they've got two strikers now, obviously Haaland, and then you got someone like Alvarez, where certain games where they were 1-0 and they couldn't find the goal to kill it off and then still give the opposite. They've got that killer instinct now that can take away the game, or when they're struggling to get a goal, they got that differential that they can make to literally just change the complete game or the way they play, because they were one way I felt last year, as in terms of how they play. Now they can still go back to the old way of playing and also got this trump card that they can use. So I think it just gives them another whole dimension as well.
Yeah, I just think when I was comparing it, I still think it's going to be between them two.
Yeah.
But there's little factors like with City, they've lost players with mentality. No matter what, Sterling is a player, he in that changing room, he had a lot of leadership quality. I think he had a lot of status there. He is single-minded. you're replacing that with Grealish, who just seems like one of those players who, yeah, he's a potential world class player if he can get consistent, but all the ability in the world. But is he the type of player that can, you can
You're talking about that edge, isn't it? That mental edge of taking it to that next level.
Yeah, and then it just seems like he's a player who's comfortable in his settings. For all of Haaland's excellent qualities, and I do think he does have winning mentalities. He didn't exactly win a lot at Dortmund, so there's a lot of big games where they lost, so cup finals and so on. So that's that question marks there when it comes to, like, I remember, I think 2 years ago they won the German Cup, and it was Bellingham who was like the guy who was grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck. It wasn't Haaland. So when I watched the game, so there's still a question mark, but I do think he's a winner and he does have winning mentality. So I just think, I don't know, seems like they're a bit more relaxed and maybe a bit too confident. Look, they got away with last year starting slow. And I got a feeling they think they can do the same again, and I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, they've only had I think about 2 preseason games or something. So,
like played 3 only.
But like, if you look at it, that's concerning, right? Because obviously, you still have to get up to speed, etc. And you haven't played enough game or got enough minutes into your leg.
Yeah. So I just think those, they're relying on Mahrez. Another thing is, last season, at the start of the season, and everyone thought was the best player, one of the best players for them was Bernardo Silva. Now, he has publicly stated and within the club let him know that he wanted to go to Barcelona. He still wants to go to Barcelona. He needs motivation. So it's very similar to Gabriel Jesus and Sterling in terms of wanting a new challenge. Now you've lost that spark. We saw the Community Cup match. It's not the same Bernardo Silva we're used to seeing, and I just think now that it seems like there's so much on De Bruyne now. You can't expect mentality from Mahrez. You can't expect mentality from Grealish. You can't really expect too much from Foden, but he has shown he can step up big. And then you've made Gundogan a bit part player now officially. So another player who's got mentality isn't as
I think Gundogan.
So when I just think about that extra edge, I just don't feel like they've got it. And the other player who's plays with that edge is Laporte. He's already injured. So I just feel like maybe they might have a slow start. And that might be the difference. And I'm sure they'll go on a run and catch up. But last year, I felt they were lucky to end the year top.
The other thing that would concern me would be probably their defense. The fact that they like Zinchenko was their backup left back. Now they haven't even got that. I know they're trying to go for someone. I think it was reported in Sky Sports, Sergio Gomez from Anderlecht. But they're thinking of again loaning him out back to Anderlecht or something, or Girona or something. So I don't know what they're going to do on that one, because that's a potential issue, isn't it?
Not really, because it's not like Zinchenko played that much last year. I just think that all it means is they're going to go with Cancelo as the left back, and if they get stuck, they'll go with Ake just to give him minutes, just like they did with Stones. Stones did a decent job when he played right back, when Walker, I think, got injured and Cancelo still needed that left back.
Yeah, but you saw in the big games how much of a difference that made, though, not having Walker and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Are you going to have to play those players in the big game? That's where I feel a lot of things fell into place for Man City in terms of when they were having to improvise and change things around. They weren't necessarily against the big teams. They had their strong team. Obviously, there was a point where De Bruyne missed a few big games at the start of the season. But again, Bernardo was on fire. I mean, he was carrying the team at that time. So I don't know. It seems like for me, there's a spark missing in players, and there's a new dynamic, and it might take a bit of time for Pep to create that new mentality, that edge.
Do we reckon are we going to see another one of those 90 points plus season, or is it going to be a bit more closer? Do you reckon, or would they be so close, or do you reckon there's going to be a gap in between the points, Ali?
I don't think it's going to be neck and neck this season. I think Liverpool will win it with a little bit of a gap. Not major gap, but I do think they will win it. That's just, again, these predictions sound so crazy.
I know.
Because the thing is, when the season starts, so every little thing can change it. I mean, one signing can change a whole prediction.
Exactly.
True. One move in January could change the whole prediction. One injury can change the whole prediction. But as of right now, that's what I would say is just my gut feeling is mentality-wise, Liverpool have the edge.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you could see in the Community Shield how much it meant to them, isn't it? To Liverpool about getting one over. In terms of the other two sports, who's your favorites? Obviously, we know 1 or 2 is going to be that way around. 3rd and 4th.
I mean, yeah, favorites you have to say is going to be, for me, Chelsea. Chelsea will still be there because of the players they're going for. They potentially are going for players that are better than what they had. So potentially they're going to be in actually more stronger position. My only concern is whether they address their central midfield option, because last year, as soon as Jorginho was out of favor and Kovacic was injured, they struggled to dominate the game or win games comfortably or create chances. So much of Tuchel's system is based around their ability to rotate and keep possession and force beat the press through Jorginho and Kovacic. So when both of them were in this lineup and they're relying on Loftus-Cheek and Kante, that's when they started to lose games. Some of the games they got outplayed and dominated. So yeah, if they get Frankie de Jong, I think, I'll be honest, that could be that Frankie de Jong signing could make me even think Chelsea can challenge for the title. I rate that much as a single one player. And if there was a system and a manager that suits Frankie de Jong's and complements Frankie de Jong's style better than anyone, in my personal opinion, it's actually Tuchel's system and the way he plays midfield and he uses his midfielders. I actually believe Frankie de Jong is the perfect player for Tuchel.
I mean, they are interested in him. I think they're looking into him.
So yeah, I'm saying that if they get Frankie de Jong and they can get a half decent striker, I would definitely put them up in a title challenge. I might even say, they could end up second ahead of City.
Wow.
But that's how much I rate the signings they're going from. Cucurella, if they get him, that's for me, he's better than Alonso. Even though Alonso gets the numbers,
definitely.
Defensively, he was terrible. So, Koulibaly looks class in the game that I've seen him play. So he's strong. Obviously, Rudiger's going to be hard to replace, but they're going to get someone top in.
Well, they're in for Fofana, isn't it? They had a 60 million bid.
Yeah, and Fofana I rate very highly. So
that's it. That back line all of a sudden looks crazy.
I mean, that just imagine looking at that for a back line. Yeah, you got James, wing back. You got Blue Fofana, Thiago Silva, and Koulibaly. Like, that's as intimidating as it gets.
That is crazy. Let's hope they don't get him.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd say Chelsea, and then you have to say Tottenham look the favorites, but I don't think it's a shoe-in like everyone else thinks, because even though I rate Conte, I do think they rely a lot on the counter-attack, and I still think they may struggle against teams that,
Sit back.
sit in a block, defend deep. Again, a fitness, they won a lot of games under Conte late. He made those changes late, impetus. We know his teams are always fit. So you're not winning because you're playing better football. A lot of the games is quite even matches with Tottenham. The ones where they really played well and that played the team is always when they got early goal and the opposition came and had to attack them, then they picked them off and controlled the tactics.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because of their style, which is a bit old school, the games become more proactive and more, more attacking. Teams are more braver in their attacking. That's what makes me worry, like whether they're assumed. But out of the teams that are there, I would say their favourites.
Who else? I mean, can United, Arsenal challenge Chelsea?
I think they can. I think they definitely can. I think it's going to be a lot more closer than because no matter what anyone says, Arsenal have got the signings they have made are good signings. I mean, Gabriel Jesus is a winner. He's an animal. I mean, we're saying, if no wonder Conte was dying for him because he does everything. He presses, he's got energy, he's got mentality, he takes players out, he scores goals. He's a team player, humble. There is nothing there ain't a top 4 team or a big team in the world who wouldn't consider him.
Yeah.
They might not go for him at the end because they might have someone better or but no one would straight out say, nah, I wouldn't even think about getting Gabriel. He's on that elite level, for me. So even Fabio Vieira, I watched a few more clips of him and just reminds me of Bruno Fernandes. The way he plays, he's always playing through balls, always taking risks, always playing with his head up. He's just a vertical player. He's just looking to play vertical most of the time. When you got Martinelli and you got Saka and you got Gabriel Hayes pace like that, if you find a way of fitting him into the 10, he could be a lethal player once he's fit. So I do like the signings. Only question mark with Arsenal is they haven't really addressed the problem areas. They've got a lot of attacking players, but I felt they were a proper midfielder light. It says a lot when you go back to El Neni and Sambi Lokonga. It says a lot. Like you to be playing in Europe and challenging for top 4. I do think you need a bit more of an engine. And
I'll tell you from my perspective. Yeah, do you know what I think is going to cost us is that experience factor or the know-how factor. I think as an Arsenal fan, that's my concern. That was my concern last year, and that's something that kind of cost us in the most crucial parts of the games against teams. There wasn't anyone that kind of gripped the game, when it's going away and changing the tide, changing the momentum. And for me, this season, going into the transfer, they've brought in some really good players, but I also wanted to bring in a few players who have, been there, done it, got the certificate, if that makes sense, that can change the game, is a leader, or, could do something that special, Patrick Vieira tackle that inspires the whole team. Just someone with a different profile. And I think that's lacking in there.
I think that's what they got Zinchenko for.
Come on, man.
I'm telling you, he's going to take over from Xhaka.
Listen.
He's going to play a lot in the midfield when Tierney is back.
Yeah, no. Listen, I've said it previously. We need another midfielder in there, and we also need to get potentially another winger. That's slash striker.
The reason why I think you're not hearing them go for many midfielders is because I think they think they've got Partey, obviously, and Lenny's back in favour as a rotation player. And they've got obviously Xhaka, which I think he's going to start phasing him out of the lineup a bit more. Because Zinchenko, who can take that place. But I think also the other reason why they're not going for it is because they like the idea of having Odegaard playing as an 8 more this year than a 10. And maybe Fabio Vieira playing more
But I thought he was changing to the 4-3-3 system. That's what it looked like to me, where Odegaard playing the right centre mid, and then obviously Xhaka playing the left centre mid, both as an 8, more than like a Odegaard being the 10. And then if we're gonna do that, I don't think Xhaka is the right player for the 8 because one, there's not enough assists for me in there, and there's not enough goals in there for me.
Well, either way, I mean, there's problems there because if they play Partey as the defensive midfielder, I do think that's a problem because every time I've seen him playing a defensive role, he is terrible in the air, and he's terrible. He always vacates the most crucial position, which is just in front of
the centre back.
So he's good at reading the play, and if a team's passing, then he's good. But as soon as he comes up against a team that plays a bit more direct, I think who was against? They were playing against Aston Villa one game last year, and I could not believe how useless Xhaka and Thomas Partey were to every look. It's like they weren't helping the defenders out one bit, and Ollie Watkins was just bringing everything down with ease, and there was no purpose to having 2 sitting defensive midfielders. They didn't know how to handle that. So just thinking about those players, if Partey is going to be stick defensive mid, I don't know he's disciplined enough. He seems like another one who wants to be more of an 8 rather than at the base dictate. So let's see. They maybe fill that hole by playing, but then the rumors are they're going for Tielemans, who isn't that player either. So their midfield and their defense is still a question mark. I mean, I think Gabriel's a very good defender. White is good, but is he dominant, against the best? That's still a question mark if he's world-class level.
I'm excited to see Saliba. I'm not gonna lie. Excited.
Yeah, I think Saliba's light. He looks a bit light. I think he can get bullied.
Let's see.
But the areas of their defense question marks are still there. That's what makes me think Tottenham going to get it. United, I think it's pretty obvious. They need a couple of players to.
You don't think they'll compete for the top 4? I mean, obviously,
I think they will compete.
Do you think they'll be close enough or in around that?
I think they will be close all the way. I really do think it's going to be because you can tell the way he's building things up. They're not going to be a terrible team at any point. And it's not like I know
what's gonna cost them, Adil, that top 4 spot?
I think what's gonna cost them is they ain't got a world-class finisher. They ain't got a guy who can score the goals, because from what I've seen, the style of play, but he's not going to be Daisy. I mean, he has to have Champions League football. So I think that's inevitable. That's inevitable that he needs to be. He needs to make sure he keeps his gap to Lionel Messi in the Champions League goal scoring charts. He needs to keep his gap. So he's going to go to a Champions League team. Ronaldo and George Mendes always gets what they want. So I think that's an inevitable situation. And they will milk Man United dry. That's just standard how it always happens. So, yeah. But looking at the games, the way they're attacking teams, the way they're creating chances, I mean, the games they've played in pre-season, they've played a lot more than they've scored. And the chances they've messed up are quite open, good a chance. And it's all down to experienced finishers. They all snatch at the shots. They're all rushing it. They're all trying to score a goal at full speed, which you lose accuracy. A lot of the time, they didn't get a shot on target or tested the keep. So I think that might cost them. But they will be in with the shout. I really do think that. I think they will be involved in the. It's not going to be like this year where they're 13 points or 15 points off the 4th place team. I do think it's going to be touch and go all the way. I actually,
So who's finishing 5th and 6th?
I would say I'll say United 5th and Arsenal 6th.
West Ham in there, any chance?
Nah,
they're signing a lot of players,
But they still have a problem of I still think they still have problem of their striker Skamaka. He hasn't impressed. He's a hard worker. He's a workhorse. He's big and strong, which is good. But I think they're gonna suffer from the issue of teams are going to start preparing for Jared Bowen. And that trick that was working all season, like the way Salah always cuts in, and Antonio was creating the space. They're gonna try a similar thing with Skamaka, and I think teams are slightly more weight. Bowen will still score because he's got a good finish.
Yeah.
He's a good player, intelligent player, but I don't think they're gonna be as prolific with that. So yeah. I'm not sure if they've got
Just
enough.
signed Maxwell Cornet as well, by the way. They triggered the release clause.
Well, that changes things. Because Maxwell Cornet, I do think, is one of the better natural finishers in the game. Even at Lyon, I mean, I always thought he's one of those guys.
It's weird. It's weird the positions he's played though. He played at Lyon as a left wing back.
Yeah, but he can. Yeah, but it just shows how much he sacrifices himself for the team. But when it comes to pure composure and finishing and accuracy, he's right up there. I really do think he's excellent at putting away chances.
It gives West Ham a different dimension, right? Someone else, because they played Fornals there, who's almost like ball to feet. Now there's another guy that can stretch the play as well.
The thing is, I'm not sure if that's the position they're going to play in. I've got a feeling they're going to play him in the wing back position.
Oh, as in 5 at the back?
Yeah, I do think that because they let Masuaku go.
Yeah.
So, and Cresswell is playing more as a third centre-back now. Mind you, obviously, maybe that was third centre-back only because of Bono's injured and those injuries. So maybe he might still play in the Fornals position. But, he's definitely an upgrade in terms of his finishing.
So, where do you think they'll end up?
What, West Ham?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll be 7th, those Conference League positions. They'll be thereabouts. It all depends on how they do in the Conference League. But last season, they seemed to manage it quite well.
They are signing a lot more players, so they're in for a few more, I think, still.
And they improve, and they're not bad players. They're all good players. I really like the defender, Agard, that they got, but he got injured. But the ratings that he's a lot more highly rated than maybe a lot of people realize. Even I realized once I looked into it, I realized, whoa, this is seriously potentially good signing.
They're also looking to strengthen their midfield as well. I know they had a bid accepted for Onana, but I think on personal terms was a complication really there. So I think that's fallen down, but they're looking to strengthen in there as well. And
again, if you look at that Onana one, that just tells me they're already preparing to their replacements for Souček.
Oh, Souček.
So, yeah, because Souček, he's not renewed a contract. He's got 2 years left, and he's not in the breakdown in. So they've done quite clever in getting the midfielder from Swansea. Is it Downs or something?
Downs, yeah, Flynn Downs.
Flynn Downs, that's it. I was gonna call him Wally Downs for some reason, but it's Flynn Downs, yeah.
I got you, don't worry. I got you.
He's actually a very good player. So yeah, they're strengthening. They're always closing the gap. That's what I mean. This Premiership is gonna be crazy. These predictions could look utterly stupid at the end of the season.
Exactly. That's what...
because of the strength of the Premiership and the way everyone's just improving.
But it's not just one team that's strengthened, it's every team actually spending, a lot of money, and it just makes everyone so much more stronger and every game more competitive than before.
Well, that's why I think it's we're gonna start getting to the stage where it's gonna be really hard for the promoted teams to ever have a chance.
Yeah.
To stay nowadays. Like before, there'd always be one that is mid-table-ish. I think that type of thing is going to be harder to happen unless they got a billionaire owner who's willing to spend serious money, because these teams are all starting to improve their setup, their scouting. There's not so many teams that are a complete mess.
No, definitely not. No.
Yeah. Everyone's getting a bit wiser, especially the ones that are already in the Prem. So it's getting harder.
It's Everton.
Yeah, Everton's still there, but seems like they're uniting behind Lampard a bit, and it's not like he's going for bad signings. So he's going for good players. So
since we're talking about that end of the tree, relegation. Who do you think is going to get relegated?
Yeah, I got my first banker is 100%.
I already know.
I'm putting a wager down Bournemouth.
I was like, I know you're gonna
100%
say-
Bournemouth.
Right, and who's the other two?
So that's where it gets a bit more difficult. I think it'll end up being Fulham more because they're gonna try and stay up playing football.
Mm.
And we know with Norwich and all those teams who try and do that. All right, Brentford was a bit different, but they actually had a strong team. And the thing is, Eriksen signing in January, I think, kept them out of a relegation battle. So yeah, I don't know. I always worry about promoted teams who try and play their way out.
Second season.
So I think Fulham is in there. Now the third one, it starts getting difficult.
Listen, for my third one, I've got like three teams to like compare. Not compare, but three teams that I think
But
potentially.
you know, one team. There's one team I'm not gonna say is gonna go down.
Who?
No, Forest, because of Steve Cooper. I like No Forest. You know, there's a bit of bias.
But do you know what? I think
definitely
I mean they've invested heavily. I think they've signed 12. They're in for their 13th player. I forgot what the name of the player that they're trying to go for. But they've heavily invested and really gotten a lot of players.
I think they had to just to compete. I don't think that makes them. I don't think that increases the like that makes them certainties to stay up. But I think that now gives them a fighting chance to stay up because they needed to do that level of recruitment and overhauling the squad. They had a lot of
loan players, didn't they? So
it's what Steve Cooper does. He has a lot of he makes average players look really good, but ultimately in the Premiership,
that's not going to cut it out.
Yeah, that confidence, you can't build that confidence as easily and just make players think they're better than they really are. Premiership doesn't work like that. So I think they've done the right thing. Whoever you got as your third team, it's gonna be someone out of the box.
Listen, look, you're probably gonna completely disagree with me, but I'm just gonna say I think there's a chance of Everton and Brighton falling in there. I don't know why it is. Brighton, I'll tell you why. Brighton, I don't know. I mean, they play great football and stuff, and obviously they were kind of away last season. But I just think they're not going to score enough goals to get dragged back into that area. And I don't know, Everton, I just feel no faith with them. Like now all of a sudden Calvert-Lewin's injured, unless they get a striker in. You can see if they start capitulating at the beginning, not getting any wins, you can see the fan base getting behind against them, and it could go downhill.
The thing with Everton is, I think they are gonna struggle, but then Everton, that team, they always sack a manager. They always sack a manager and then survive. So I got a feeling, they're gonna struggle. Lampard's gonna get the chop, and then they're gonna get someone that ends up steadying the ship where they stay alive. So that's why I've not included them, is because they won't be afraid to chop their manager. So I got a feeling.
So those are my two, and the third
team that I'm actually concerned about is Southampton.
That's what I was gonna say. Now my third one's gonna be Southampton, but all right, go on.
They ain't got a striker. They ain't got a prolific scorer.
No.
And
I mean, they did sign that player for Mara or something. But yeah,
again, it's a development player. He's not, he's not. But the thing, other reason why I'm really worried about Southampton is they've overhauled the whole backroom team. The club is now picking the backroom team, so you effectively got Hassan Hutel managing the club with a lot of coaches he hasn't selected, and it's not really his team. And I know he's taking on the chin and he's putting on a brave face, but that don't show faith in the manager or supporting the manager.
Then why is Hassan Hutel still staying? You should just say, you know what, if this is the case, then you know what.
But I think he's committed to the project. He's one of those managers. He loves the project. He's invested in the project. He's put so much into it, and so. That's what makes me worried, is it doesn't seem in sync. And another team I think will struggle is Crystal Palace.
Ooh, you think Palace are going to struggle?
I think they're going to struggle more than people think because of the fact that I always feel like Zaha, how much can you keep squeezing out of a player who ultimately thinks his ambitions are higher? But the other thing is, Conor Gallagher was a big part of their success last year, and I just don't see who they've got to take that place. They've got good players in, they are strengthening their squad, but just looking at them in pre-season, I was looking at Mateta, I was thinking, nah, you're not going to survive with that strike force. Like, no, I think they will survive, but they'll be in a tough part. But I'm going with Southampton as my lock-in third choice.
Oh, you're locking third choice. Wow.
Southampton. Again, if they sack their manager and get someone else and spend a whole load of money in January, it changes things. But as of today, yeah, I think, you're going to have the Leeds and the
in around that area.
Nottingham Forest, Everton, Crystal Palace. I think they're going to be the ones in there. But yeah, as of now, Southampton's my choice.
Yeah. Okay. See, it's gone out my head now. My third one again, like I said, it's between them three. I'm not sure who it will be.
So you're saying which three? Southampton, Everton, and who I didn't get the third one. Nottingham Forest.
No, Southampton, Everton, and Brighton. As in
Brighton. Wow, that's a surprise.
That third spot is going to be between them guys.
Nah, I don't think Brighton will be. I just think.
But I don't know. This is what my
solid coaching.
Mm.
They got solid coaching, solid team. They got enough know-how. I think they got energy in that midfield now with all those South American midfielders and So
again, I don't know if
they're not going to be as strong as last year. I mean, last year they had an amazing start to the season. That's what kind of
that helped them. That helped them towards So
that gave them a lot of confidence at the start. So they may not get that, but I just think good coaching is good coaching, and it's a bit like backing Steve Cooper. Knowing first, I'd back Graham Potter with Brighton to always have enough about him.
Cool. But in terms of the other teams, Newcastle, what are we expecting them to do? I mean,
I think they're going to be a top 10 team. They're going to have a solid season. I think they'll be solid.
Top eight?
Nah, I think that's pushing it a bit.
Even with the investment they made and they're looking to get in like Madison, etc. No?
Well, if they get them, then that's different. But right now, I'm just talking about as of right now, I don't think they've got enough, in there. Wilson's going to get injured for some moment and then things will, scoring goals will become an issue. Yeah. So I think, I think they'll be top 10. Inconsistent, but solid. The team, I think, might do okay.
Who's going to be the surprise package from the lot? There's always someone surprising, someone. Have I surprised you with the question?
No, because I think the surprise package for me is going to be Nottingham Forest. As in, they're going to do a way above what they should be.
What they should be doing, yeah.
Yeah, and I think obviously Wolves will struggle. Wolves, to say the truth, will have a tough season only because Raul Jimenez is injured and he looked really strong. So I think the disappointment of the season, I can say that much, for me is going to be Aston Villa because they are still trying to beat teams through being physical rather than.
Think it's going to be Aston Villa?
Football. Yeah, I just think it's too. They're just trying to batter teams into winning, which is fine for mentality, but there comes a point where you got to play good football. Great chances.
They got the players there for it.
Yeah, I'm not sure how well they'll do. I think they'll be, because people are expecting them to challenge top 8. I think they'll be the disappointment of the season for me.
Wow. In terms of the other team, Leicester, what are we thinking of Leicester? I mean, it seems like everyone's going for all their players, aging squad.
Yeah, I think as soon as they, Rodgers put it out there, they need to balance their books. It's like suddenly everyone wants Fofana, everyone wants Maddison, everyone wants Barnes. And then we already know Tielemans will eventually leave. I mean, 1 year left on his contract. They're not going to reject 25 million. Already, Kasper Schmeichel has gone.
Yeah, that's a big
It's
loss.
going to be tough. It's going to be tough for them. I actually felt if they kept their players, they'd have a good season because they don't have Europe or the UEFA Conference League, which
Yeah,
always, Brendan Rodgers loves rotating so much. So I felt like he struggled to keep the balance right last year. But you're losing big characters, big players. I mean, people are looking to, take their most, their best players, and they're all all right. Fofana's an excellent age. Barnes is an excellent age. Tielemans is in his prime. Madison's in his prime. So I do think that will have an effect on them.
I'm looking forward to Dewsbury Hall. He looks exciting in the preseason when I watched him.
Well, he broke through last year, so he's no longer.
No, but you know what I mean. As in, this is going to be his like full real season where he is expected to start. So like obviously he broke through last season, but this is going to be the season where he knows he's got the number, he's got the shirt. He needs to go deliver now.
So which player is the player you think is going to surprise us?
Oh, he's going to surprise us.
Yeah, like unheralded. Someone who's going to like really, like last year you could say Bowen was that guy that was mixing it with the big boys.
I think, as you know what, I really like Alvarez. I don't know why, like that 15-20 minutes. I was like, wow.
No, I don't think he's gonna get enough game time.
I know what you mean, but I'm just saying that was for me. That was like, wow, that was really good. Who's for you?
I don't know if he's in the stats. I don't think he's going to get the stats because he's relying on other players to finish up. But I
know who you're going to say.
I am excited to see Aronson play in this league system.
I thought you were going to say Johnson from Nottingham Forest.
No, I do think he'll do well, but I think it's a bit weird to say because this is a big name player. But I do think Sancho is going to have a standout season. I really do think Sancho is going to have a standout season for United. It just everything about the Ten Hag system just suits Sancho. So I just think he might be a player. Plus, he wants that World Cup, so I'm sure he's going to really start the season on fire.
Well, you got Rashford as well. He's going to want to go to the World Cup as well. So there's going to be competition within.
There's levels in it between Sancho and Rashford. Come on. Yeah, Rashford will try hard again. Will start sprinting and maybe throw his arms up less, but and he'll score goals. He will score goals, but
what's been pleasing to see is Bruno Fernandes's theatrical drama. Kind of lesson down. I'm like, I can watch this guy now. Before, like, I just wanted to throw stuff at him.
Yeah. The histrionics and the antics has calmed down, but I would say there was a hint of it coming back slightly against Atletico. But I do think, Atletico can do that to any player. Atletico as a team can do that to anybody.
If it's against Atletico, you can allow it. You can allow it. That's it. That's like a one-off game where you can do anything under the sun and you can get away with it.
Yeah.
Oh man. Leeds. You briefly mentioned Leeds. I mean, we're not saying they're gonna finish be in the relegation zone or up in the top 10. Where they're gonna be?
I think they'll be in the relegation battle, but always kind of just enough. They'll have just about enough. Out there, because the thing is, you don't fear Leeds being brave. And the thing is, I always feel the teams that end up going down are the ones who lose their identity, who hold on rather than kind of just go for it. And that's one of the reasons why I just think Southampton will end up going down and Fulham will end up going, because I think somewhere they're gonna stop being brave and attacking and going for it. Somewhere I just feel like they're gonna.
But the problem with Fulham have always been they don't seem to score enough goals. They don't have a striker that comes in and Mitrovic is amazing in the Championship, but again in the Premier League, what happens.
Yeah, but I think this year he's gonna probably do better than previous years or any other time because
of
it,
Silva?
not only that, but the previous seasons when they've got promoted, they've looked to get someone else in as the main striker, and he suddenly did start the season as the 100% number one. But this year, it doesn't seem like they're looking to move him on. He's their main guy, and he's played the way he was playing in the Champions last year under Silva was on more of an all-round game. He wasn't just the guy target man scoring the goals. He's actually in the build-up a lot more, creating space for others a bit more. So he's playing a lot more all-round game. So I just think, yeah, he brings more to Fulham now than just being a goal scorer. So I think he might have a better chance being that guy. I know Leeds, you can put a question mark over it. At the end of the day, they have lost their two best players.
Yeah.
And they haven't exactly fixed their defense.
And I mean, and even like I think is Bamford back? I mean, he's the only.
Bamford's back. He's scoring goals in preseason. Rodrigo's been scoring
again,
goals.
it's just one striker. Again, that's the issue.
I think the thing I've noticed about Leeds is they've handpicked their preseason hasn't been against tough teams. I mean, they've played the last game. I think Cagliari, Italian team, has still got like 3 weeks before the season starts. So, they're not as fit as like a good barometer is if you're playing a German team or a Spanish team, because German teams have already started their season at the same time as.
The other thing I was going to say, do you think he's trying to build the confidence of the team? Maybe that's
I think it is. So it could end up being a smart thing, but yeah, I should say too. Maybe Leeds is. We should say could be in a relegation battle a bit more. Because I'm thinking more and more about their defense, and once Cooper gets injured, because I do rate Llorente as a defender, but I got a feeling the manager probably prefers Strick and Koch and the other players. Yeah, but I think Llorente is a very, very good defender. So yeah, maybe they should be a bit more lower down. We should be a bit more worried about Leeds.
Yeah, let's see. For those of you watching, please make sure you let us know your thoughts and views of who you think is going to be top 4, who's going to get relegated, and whoever your team is, where they're going to end up. I mean, we'd love to hear on what you want to say.
And join our fantasy football.
Oh yeah, I'll put the link down below. There's not much time left, but when I put the video out, please make sure you guys join. For those of you watching, thank you for watching. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you soon. We're gonna try dropping a video for every Monday or Tuesday morning, so do keep an eye out. And yeah, guys, see you soon.